foundation for the work that I do and many of the conversations that I have with people is based on the benefits of soil life and promotes maximizing their use to grow better plants and food for a healthier lifestyle. So today I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why soil life works. Much of the information and content that I've been producing on my channel so far relates to the fact that soil microbiology is a great thing, and if we promote it and stimulate it in the right ways, we can maximize all of its benefits to grow healthier, tastier crops and food in more sustainable ways using more natural methods. Soil life is excellent, especially if you're trying to do things in the most natural way that you can. So today I'm going to talk you through 3 reasons why it just works, and I will give some examples and also some empirical evidence as to the benefits of soil microbiology and seeing it working in action. Let's get straight into it. Now, those of you that follow the channel and have seen some of my past videos will probably have gathered I have my fingers in a lot of pies. One of those pies is running a soil microbiology laboratory where we are actively testing people's soils to look at the organisms, the life in soil that I'm talking about today. And it's certainly no new concept that harnessing the life in soil, maximizing the benefits and using it in the right ways can really transform how you grow things. But this isn't new. We've seen luminaries in soil such as Albert Howard or Lady Eve Balfour in the UK, or people like Rodale in the US, promoting some of these principles to others. And these guys have written some pretty amazing books and produced many interesting papers, ultimately put a lot of great information out there which is still being used today. And in terms of soil life in the modern day, you've got people like Dr. Elaine Ingham who are teaching lots of people about the soil food web as well. So there really is a lot out there already getting kind of put out there amongst the masses to sing the virtues of healthy, active soils driven by diverse microbiology. But why does it work? Well, let's get straight into it with reason number 1. Microbes are already involved in nutrient availability in plants. In some of my other videos, I talk about microbes and nutrient cycling in a standalone fashion. But in reality, microbes are already involved in helping plants access nutrients, whatever the method you are growing. Just like in human beings, microorganisms are involved in the digestive process, and that is in soil as well. Bacteria and fungi help convert certain nutrients from the forms they're present in, whether that's through an artificial product or natural processes in the soil. They convert the form and help transport it and serve it effectively to the plant roots. What does that mean for you? Well, no matter how you're growing, whether you're using artificial products, chemicals or fertilizers, or you're trying to do things as naturally as possible, having great reserves of microbiology, lots of different species, lots of activity is going to help that process. So your plants will have access to the widest array of food that is potentially there on offer. So microbiology is not just there to make things that aren't available. They can already have an important role in the efficiency of making things available as well. And this leads nicely on to reason number 2. Microbes and plants are designed with compatibility and connection at their core. So in some of my other videos, I have talked about the importance of the relationship between microbes and the human body, and plants are no different. I will link to one of those videos in the information below. Plants have similar and completely different connections with different microorganisms that are the result of not just evolution, but climatic, environmental, and a whole host of other predeterminants. Plants will create their own microbiome around the roots, an area often referred to as the rhizosphere. And very often these microorganisms in the rhizosphere will create their own microbiome as well. So they will create a particular environment in very close proximity to themselves, which can stimulate and attract other organisms to them. But nowhere is this plant microbe relationship more obvious and also well known than in the case of mycorrhizal fungi. The vast majority of plants that exist in the world will form a symbiotic relationship between its roots and this particular fungi if this fungi is present. There are a select few of plant types that don't form this synergistic relationship, but I'll perhaps talk a little bit more about them another time. This root fungi connection is particularly noticeable in trees. Once that connection is made between the root and the fungi, it is there for life, and the organisms co-evolve and exist together. Once this mutualistic relationship is established, the two co-inhabit the space they live in together, supporting each other, and over time they can produce what's often likened to an internet of the soil, a neural network, if you like, between neighbouring plants and trees. And this is super cool because it enables many of these plants and trees to communicate, and not just communicate, but actually share resources as well. And there's a lot of information coming out about the connected nature of areas like woodland, where one tree can pass on information to another, enabling them to prepare or combat certain threats like pests or disease. And fungi are super cool. Not many people know that a particular type of fungi, a honey fungus, is actually the largest known living organism in the world. It covers an area of over 2,000 acres in an area in Oregon in the US. My third and final reason why soil biology just works is this. Whether you're growing food or plants, the fact remains that growing is a biological process, and many of the issues that we encounter when we're growing crops, such as shortfalls in growth, pests or diseases, are all related to the biological condition of the plants we're growing. The modern chemicals and products that exist to combat some of these things or treat them, they address the symptoms but seldom address the root cause, and the root cause is more often than not related to the biological status of things. When things are not working, that is often the result of things coming out of balance. We see this all the time in my laboratory. So to get things working better, things need to be more biologically balanced. Where things grow well, where they are left alone to their own devices, nature restores or maintains this sense of balance. When we interfere with that, we tend to jeopardize that balance or tilt the scales in a particular direction, causing an unbalanced environment and escalating problems which could ultimately be rectified or addressed using artificial means. And this kind of keeps that loop of problems going. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. So what can you take from this? Well, if you are looking to grow things in the most natural way possible, you're going to need to make sure that there is a balanced natural environment, and you need to focus your attention not just on the plant above the ground, the biology above ground that we see, but the biology below ground as well, to make sure that that is in adequate supply and in the balance it needs to be to support what's going on above the ground. And these are precisely the kinds of things that I teach people. Once you begin to understand the biological principles at play here, you can begin to adopt a different approach which enables you to transform how you grow your food. If you need more evidence that soil life is a good thing, then I implore you to just look around you. The world in which we exist is the result of evolution, eons of different organisms living in balance and out of balance, and that scale's getting tilted backwards and forwards. But where we see things in balance, for example, in a mature or untouched kind of natural woodland, we can see all of these processes working together. That could be leaf litter or deadwood falling to the ground in the forest, then the organisms like fungi decomposing it. We see the fruiting bodies, mushrooms, which are kind of the fruits of their labour, forming as they generate fresh soil which goes into the ground and feeds the next tree's roots, or feeds itself almost. It becomes this balanced cycle where everything is in harmony. The flip of that scenario, somewhere quite extreme, could be a very artificial environment where man has interfered with that delicate balance. And great example I think of is Chernobyl, where very, very extreme conditions, but once abandoned and left to its own devices, you know, the toxicity, the concrete jungle have become overtaken by nature again, as nature seeks to restore a sense of balance to things. And lots of animals and insects have now kind of gone back into that area that was so hazardous. In fact, some parts of it still are. But the point is that nature has a habit of restoring balance at the end. And that's kind of my conclusion for this video. Almost everything is a biological process. Many of the problems that we're dealing with in a non-biological way, and therefore we're only treating the symptoms. But if we want to fix the underlying causes of the problems we have when we're growing things, we need to look on a biological level and start to work with nature and help accelerate that journey that nature takes to restore balance. That wraps this video up for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. If you like videos that give you tips and teach you things so that you can grow better food, plants and crops, then do please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm always available on email, link in the description below, or you can reach out in the comments section below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.